Okay.
Brilliant. So yeah, as you said, I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that the Night Angel trilogy you complete all three books before it was before the first book was published, and then they came out very quickly.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad I got that right. Otherwise, this question we'd be in trouble with this question. But so now having these books come out individually, and I'm not sure how much you kind of read reviews and that kind of thing, but does it have any influence on you? Should you read a review or get a tweet, or does that have any influence on how you approach the next book?
It has had an influence. It was a very different experience writing these two series. I mean, I would say in Night Angel, I was always worried no one would ever care what I wrote. And then after that came out, it was like, oh my God, too many people care. Like, stop it. Like, I don't want to hear anything. But and the writing process was really different because I was able to, after I finished Night Angel, I was able to go back and edit, book one. I finished book three and I go, oh, this is really cool. I'll put this very sly foreshadowing back in book one, and I could just go do it, Yeah. Whereas in this series, it's like I'll be in book four, and I'll be writing some little historical tidbit, and I'll be like, wait, this is really great. And then I go back in book four, and one time I looked at something and it screwed me because I'd mentioned it, and I'd had a plural on a word, just a throwaway thing. Oh, the captains of this, and I was like, oh God, no, it had to be only one captain. There was only one in all history, and I had this nice little historical thing I made up for this, but back in book one, my throwaway line screwed me. So the writing process is very different. There's times it's like, oh, if I could just, and it's usually small stuff. It's strangely enough, it's like, if I could just change what he says right here, wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that work really well together? But your question was more on the public side of things, and it actually does have an effect on me. It's one of the harder things, I think, as an artist, is to figure out how to deal with criticism and praise, and both of those can be dangerous. I guess it's understanding what to accept and what to reject, and so I do read reviews. It's sometimes it's like, yeah, that's fair. Like when reviews criticize something that I'm like, I have a pretty good sense of my own strengths and weaknesses. So when people hit something that's a little weak and they're like, yeah, this is a little weak, you can be like, crap. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Well, sometimes stuff comes out that's like totally stupid, and you're like, well, okay, you said that my characters are my weakest point, and I've read 200 other reviews that are like, oh my God, I love his characters, and I feel that my characters are my strongest point. So you say my characters are really weak. It's like, okay, you didn't understand that, or it didn't work for you. Fine, that stuff doesn't actually bother me. So then there's stuff that's like unfair or something, and that stuff can bother you. But where you feel like people are deliberately, being offended about something or whatever, and you're like, okay, you're just using me to make yourself look better, or like making fun of you, or reading uncharitably, I guess. That irritates still. So I'm still working on my reactions, but so I do like to read reviews, and if 50 people say this thing really worked, then you can be like, yeah, that thing probably I did well on that. And if 50 people say this thing didn't work at all, you can be like, I guess that went awry. And I feel like I have had a couple places. One that that really kind of disappointed me, and I probably shouldn't talk about this on a promotional thing, but like people you should all be I don't know.
Do it now.
So it was the reaction to Liv was overwhelmingly negative, and she's in the early books, and I thought of Liv as kind of the young girl who goes to college and has kind of gotten a raw deal and kind of goes, this is all bullshit. You know, everything I've learned is bullshit. And so maybe I shouldn't say that in a
Friendly
yeah. Sorry, we'll just scrub that. Liv says, you know, everything is bull, and like you guys are all full of crap, and I'm so disillusioned with the whole world. And most of us kind of go through some of this as we grow up. And so she's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and she kind of joins the other guys. And she's naive, and she's a little bitter about it. And I thought that people would be a little more understanding of that. And I think this comes to different readers. I think like when you're right out of college, you have, or you're very close to having been that person, you have very little patience for it. And you think, oh, what a B, you know, or like younger readers had sort of the same thing with Kip. Oh, Kip is so whiny. Oh my gosh. Where slightly older readers were like, Kip is so 15. That is really what 15 is like, you know, and if you look charitably at, well, so Kip, I was like, well, if Kip doesn't work for you, fine, it doesn't work for you. But with Liv, it felt like, I think some of the early reader experiences with her turned them off to her. Like if the first impression is bad of a person, then you just don't like them. And so people didn't connect with Liv as much as I kind of hoped they would. So I feel like I went a little wrong with that, at least for a lot of readers, and maybe older readers, it didn't bother them as much. But for a big core of people, they're like, Liv, I don't like Liv. She's a bad guy now. And so did that actually did change a little bit of what I did with her. And I gave her less screen time. I mean, so she still does the things she was going to do. But it's condensed. She does a ton of things, but I'm not, if readers aren't enjoying a character, then I'm not going to force them like sit still and take your medicine. No, that's not what I'm here for. So she still does her things. We just don't spend a ton of pages with her while she does them. It's like, okay, if you're not going to bond with this character, I'm not going to make this character. I'm not going to force feed you the River Merchant for 200 pages. So, and the other thing
about Liv, that if that's how other people felt, then that's cool. But do you
right.
think, is that one of the reasons that Taya kind of got more of a kind of a bigger role? Do you think, kind of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In which case, maybe I'm happy people didn't like Liv, because she's probably my favorite character. Sorry, Liv, yeah. But yeah, she took one for the team.
Yeah, no, I really liked how Adrasia, you know, she turned out really. She turned out really good, so I'm glad too, because she's a very different character, and I was able to have a lot of fun with her. So the other one though that was interesting. Sorry, I'm going on and on about this question of things that didn't work. Is in Broken Eye. I wanted to do something really different than what I'd seen in a lot of fantasy. In a lot of fantasy, it's like you go from a lot of epic fantasy. It feels like you go from big battle to big battle. And I was like, what if instead of going straight to that, what if we took a step back and like there's still big battles happening, but what if in this book, you know, we're with characters who have no real reason to be in the places where the battles geographically have to happen. So I could make an excuse to push them over there to be there, but it doesn't make sense for any of them. So instead, how about we experience this traumatic war the way most Americans experienced World War II. It's like, oh, well, we know our boys are over there. We know they're doing stuff. We get dispatches, but we might just read a list of the dead, and we see that Tommy Jones is gone, and like that's devastating, and you feel helpless. But there's nothing you can really do except, you know, use your little gas stamps and save, use your ration card and raise some money. And that's a really different experience of war, but one that obviously has happened to lots and lots of people over the course of history. So I thought I want to do this instead of just being on the ground and doing the things that I've seen a thousand times in fantasy. So I did that, and then I heard a lot of criticism from readers. Nothing happens in this book, and I'm like, what do you mean nothing happens in the book? And or like this was. And some I would see, it was fun to see sort of people fight. Like, what? Look, this versus this versus this, and so forth. And other people like, nothing happened. Well, nothing happened because you didn't see a bunch of battles. And the final battle, of the book it's a couple of skirmishes on top of each other. And, it matters. The violence matters because it's the characters you care about, but it's not 500,000 troops coming over the ridge, and what are we going to do? So I tried to do something really different, and then readers didn't like it, and that just kind of, I'll keep doing things that are really different because that's just how I roll. But I was kind of bummed that didn't work for a lot of people, and for some people it worked. But I felt like I tried this new and different thing, and it didn't resonate with some people. Oh, that sucks. So
yeah. But then you get people who write reviews and say fantasy stale, no one's trying new stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much I trust those people sometimes.
And then you try new stuff, and it's like, should have done the old stuff.
Yeah, right.
I keep looking.
That's something that I try to keep doing though. Is I want to treat fantasy readers like they're as smart as I am, like they've read all the stuff or more than I have. And
we all try to be as smart as you, Brent. It's just not possible. We try.
So it's like, I'm going to throw new things at you, and I'm going to do that to keep myself interested, and I'm going to do that because I'm just a little bit, fearless in what I try when I'm creating. It's like, okay, if everybody says this is the best book Brent Weeks ever did, then I'll probably feel like a failure. If everybody agrees that one book is the culmination of what I've done, I'm going to do different things. And I hope that some readers are like, oh, I love the first book of Night Angel. And then other readers are like, what are you talking about? The second book is way better, and other readers are like, well, Blinding Knife was kind of the high watermark. And other people are like, but the last book was so good. So like that, when readers argue about things, it tells me that I'm reaching a level of technical excellence where it's not a ridiculous argument, but then I'm hitting readers in different places. So what I'm doing is working better for certain subsets of people, and that's great. That's great. So,
awesome. So talking about all the different, if I keep looking down, my dog's just snuck in the room. So she's
nice.
Where's she gone? Come here,
We'll just blame it on Skype. Skype is acting up or something, right?
Yeah.